Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere outside of Los Angeles, California. My name's Brian Engelman. This is the TNAM Daily Show here on the new American media, because the old American media has failed you. That's why you stopped watching. That's why you left. That's why you bailed on them, because they bailed on you. On today's program, we're going to talk about Sydney Sweeney. Yes, the left has a new, super important talking point. We're going to discuss the horror in Cincinnati, Ohio over the weekend at a jazz festival. Wow. Is it a hate crime? You tell us in the comments. Also, the Trump deal with the European Union. We're going to open up a $20 trillion market with our goods going in tariff-free. And anything coming in from the UK is going to be hit with a 15% tariff. Hey, you see how we could have been running America had we cared about making America a better place, right? You're aware of this. You've seen how this works. We're going to talk about those stories and more on today's program. So grab your beverage, get involved, join the comments, questions, comments, jokes, leave them on the side. Once the chat room populates, we'll put it on the side of the screen over there. So let's get today's show on the road. Let's go.
Your guide to the truth, thenewamericanmedia.com.
Thank you for joining us on the program today. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope you got some sun. Hope you got some things accomplished. Hope you got to spend some time with people that you care about, people that care about you. You know, what is the purpose of life? What is the point? What are we doing here? There's so many questions. End of the day, there are just a million questions. And it's those greater questions we have to think about and answer. And if you divide your hours up, it'll show you what you care about. You know? I've always cared about what's happening in the world. I've been interested. I had a teacher, Mr. Flaw, F-L-A-U-G-H. It was like, had a daily quiz. You just had to kind of click on the news and figure out what's going on. This is the name of the hurricane that's pummeling the American Southeast. You're like, so either you know just a couple of the top stories or you don't. And so that's been, I can't say that was a pivot point for me, but, you know, I am innately curious about what's happening. You know, what they say about curiosity in the cat, right? Well, rescued is my favorite breed. Nice cup. So, yeah, thanks for joining us as we try to unpack the news once we've realized that the old American media has been pushing agendas. Not a big fan of what they've had to offer. So that's why we started our own thing 13 years ago. Please consider liking and sharing our stuff. Let me go side by side here. Let me go at the bottom. In blue, the New American Media exists on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odysee, Twitch, Kick, DLive, and YouTube at the New American Media. We're on Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat, on X at American_Media_. And our podcast is the Agree to Disagree Show on Spotify and Apple. So let's talk about what we have going on here, shall we? Hit like, hit subscribe, however you are watching, and we'll put your comments up on the side. All right, so what is this? Barbaric Barbary. This is Thomas 1774 Payne. FBI was investigating 36 young girls that Epstein arred and trafficked until Epstein agreed to rat out Wall Street hedge fund execs for laundering money. Oh, so Epstein knew where all the dirt was, allegedly, according to this post, allegedly. Then the feds agreed to bury the federal charges, so he used blackmail to get his way out. He dealt in information. Here the FBI admits Epstein is their informant. What's this say? Florida, Epstein has also provided information to the FBI as agreed upon. Case agent advised that no federal prosecution will occur in this matter as long as Epstein continues to uphold his agreement with the state of Florida. Okay. Well. Okay. So we ratted out, allegedly, 36 Wall Street hedge fund execs for laundering money. Huh. What do we know about all this? Oh, there it is, a little bit larger on the screen. Easier to read. There's a lot we don't know about the story. And we're sort of in a spot where it's like you can trust the Obama, Biden, Clinton camp, or you can trust the Trump, Bongino, Patel camp. Bondi. And you can look at the ring that was shut down over the weekend, by the way. Did you see that big ring? I think it was over the weekend or late last week. A massive abuse ring has been shut down. All right, Victor Davis Hanson, always good for a synopsis of a potentially complicated story. We've been unpacking Russian collusion, all of the treason that had been committed against Donald Trump, the Republican Party, MAGA, the American citizens by removing our right for self-determinance in our government. They thought they knew better. They thought they were better. They thought they were smarter. They thought they had the right to frame the political opposition and then stage a coup to have him thrown out and impeached. And then when that didn't work, to frame him for insurrection. And when that didn't work, to use lawfare to throw him in jail and prison where you could Epstein him. And when that didn't work, there was Butler. There was the attempt on his life at the Florida golf course. Then when that didn't work, that's where we are now. And the other side is in charge. The hunter has become the hunted. Victor Davis Hanson talking about what we just witnessed was a coup.
Has ever tried to remove a major party candidate from the ballot. 25 states tried to remove Donald Trump. No one has ever raided an ex-president's home.
Nope.
And they took out 14,000 documents, and they found 102 that were classified, 0.001 or something. And Joe Biden had the same exposure. No ex-president and leading presidential nominee has ever had 93 criminal indictments. Now we know that Fani Willis, Alvin Bragg, Jack Smith coordinated with the White House. Nathan Wade was in the White House the same day that Jack Smith was appointed, the same day that Michael Colangelo, third in the DOJ, went to work for Alvin Bragg. So we've never seen any of this. We've never had a president was impeached twice, tried as a private citizen.
Yeah.
And so what do you do about it? And do you bring it back up, or do you just say, well, that was an aberration? But if you're disinterested and analytical and empirical, it was much worse than Watergate.
Oh my gosh.
You had the FBI.
There might be your understatement of the year that it's much worse than Watergate. Yes. Go back through our 2000 videos. I've been yelling this for years. And you ran Nixon out over next to nothing. This, you say Watergate on steroids. I mean, it makes Watergate look like a child's toy.
And the CIA and the Director of National Intelligence coordinating with Hillary Clinton to destroy a campaign. And then when he was president, those same actors reemerged to further that narrative and get Robert Mueller, who knew there was no collusion, to spend 22 months and $40 million to find nothing, no culpability, and basically ruined the first 2 years of the Trump administration. And so there we are, and I think everybody's torn. What do you do about it? It's so huge and gargantuan. If you came from Mars and just said, "Oh my God, this was a coup," but yet to dig all this up and go through it, everybody said, "Oh my God, I don't want to go through." No one has ever tried to remove a major party candidate from the ballot. 25 states tried to remove Donald.
That's the beginning. I mean, yeah, the deep state Democrats declared a war on America, and it's nothing short of a treasonous coup, with Obama, Clinton, Comey, Brennan, Clapper, Biden, all at the top coordinating it. So what comes next? If I were prognosticating what comes next, my guess would be Brennan will take the fall. I think Clinton has to get wrapped up in this. I think both Clintons are going to go down. I think Bill is primed to go down for the Epstein thing. He's the most visible, obvious repeat offender on the island. Like, it's not that you hopped in a jet that was owned by Epstein and it was at the airport and you jumped on a flight up to New York and back. That's what rich people do. That's what I'm told. You just kind of chartered the private flights when they're not needed. Bobby Kennedy was on the plane. This is a dartboard. There's outer ring, middle ring, inner ring, and then bullseye stuff. I think Bill Clinton will be at the bullseye of the Epstein revelations. And I think Hillary's going to be at the core of the coup, of the treason. I think that whole crime empire is about ready to face some justice. And I think Brennan might be able to might end up taking the fall. I think it'll be Brennan, because what they're making it sound like is that he was the one that made the special classification of, top secret classification. And there were only a couple people that saw it. So everybody else was working under the assumption that they had something reliable. Well, Brennan knew from day one that wasn't reliable. There's no denying it. I think there's a lot of people that could claim ignorance, put their hands up and go, I thought that's what was going on. That's what they kept telling me. That's what 51 intelligence officials told me about the Russian propaganda. It has all the classic earmarks of Russian propaganda on the Hunter Biden laptop, they would say. That's how they frame it. But I'm just seeing, Obama might even be able to get away with some of it. But the problem is he's been coordinating things behind the scenes for the downtime when he was not president. And it's not like he would have a presidential immunity against staging a coup to overthrow the duly elected president of the United States. That's not that's not in the official line of duty. That's not official business. That's treason. You're not supposed to do that. Like, there's a system, and they were operating completely outside of it. We'll see how it shakes out, but this is a major story. All right, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene says researchers quietly planned a test to dim the sunlight. They wanted to avoid scaring the public. She's asking that we pass the Clear Skies Act to protect our skies and our sun. I agree completely. Hundreds of documents show how researchers failed to notify officials in California about a test of technology to block the sun's rays while they planned a much huger sequel. Yeah, they're going like Mr. Burns, trying to blot out the sun. That's a little weird. Keep your eyes peeled on that. I think we're way past due to protect the skies. Roger Stone here shares the Inspector General of the CIA should conduct an immediate investigation to determine whether anyone currently in the leadership of the CIA at any level is communicating with former CIA Director John Brennan. They left, but they didn't leave. That's what the deep state is. The tentacles reach very far back. It's a creeping plant where if you pull it up, if you don't get the root system, it's going to spring back up. That's what we're talking about here. That's what we're working with. let's see how it shakes out. This is what I was asking you to consider as we have to make the unfortunate choice of trusting Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, the deep state, Soros, all those NGOs, the ones who were human trafficking hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied minors to be, well, Lord knows what's happened to these people. And Lord knows what that group that seized control in 2020, Lord knows what they had in mind. Lord knows how they specifically designed the system so that they wouldn't follow up and couldn't find these people that were disappeared. You know, on one hand of the evil spectrum, they could be abused. On the other hand of the spectrum, which it's not mutually exclusive, both of these could be true. Then the families back home, you know, they're going to try to, oh no, that's my unaccompanied child. I need to come with them. I need to become an American citizen too. Like, I'll run in a scam. The people behind who gave their kid to a trafficker, a coyote, to get into America, hoping it was the golden key to become a citizen. Well, these people are going to owe some favors, aren't they? They're going to owe some favors to the mafia, the gangs, the cartels. I mean, multi-generational hooks into these people and their families to be sleeper cells, to work for their criminal empire, to do God knows what, at God knows what time, for God knows what reason. The way we're making it sound with Dan Bongino saying what I've learned, I think he said recently, or like working in this administration, he goes, it's shaken me to my core. We cannot run a government like this. What did he learn? Are there good guys behind the scenes working to make things happen? Well, Dan Bongino's telling us, he's like, we're working on a lot and we can't tell you everything that we're doing right now, but we are working and we are doing it. And then they release this. So this story here, according to the Real State of America, Scott McFarlane writing for CBS News, Trump Justice Department shuts down a dark web child abuse websites that had 120,000 members and millions of files. I'm sorry, what? So if I'm being told to just hang on, we'll get to Epstein in a minute. You want to talk about that guy? I don't want to talk about that guy. Is it possible that they're working on something behind the scenes? They met with Ghislaine Maxwell. Apparently nobody's done that before. That's ridiculous, of course. But maybe that is the case. Why would Obama and Biden want to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell? Just let her rot. You know, Joe Biden, who inappropriately showered with his daughter Ashley, according to her diary, allegedly. And Hunter Biden, who, well, you could list off 20 or 30 sketchy things about Hunter Biden. But yeah, that's a pretty degenerate family right there. If letting the Epstein story go is something that is being asked, I can't answer that in the affirmative. No. If what's being asked is, hold on a minute, we're battling a lot right now. We're fighting off like we got many arms of Vishnu. Just cha-cha-cha-cha, like in the Matrix. You're dodging and you're attacking. If the ask is, hold on a second, we're working on something. All right, well, there you go. I do see massive arrests. So the websites are shut down, but how do you find the people that had 120,000 members? Where are those people? All right, let's switch gears here, because there's just only so much to these stories I can cover. I don't have all the information. We're putting pieces of a puzzle together, and we don't have every piece. Let me see. Save this. Go to that. All right. Checking on that. Okay. Let's talk about Howard Lutnick here. This is a huge deal. President Trump just unlocked one of the biggest economies in the world. The European Union is going to open its $20 trillion market and completely accept our auto and industrial standards for the first time ever. In addition, it will purchase $750 billion worth of energy from us and invest $600 billion in America. I mean, that's win, 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 win. Why aren't we selling our energy on the open market? Why aren't we using the revenue to pay down this phantom debt that I didn't ring up and someone expects us to pay for? Like, come on. Bring in that revenue. Secure investments in America. Build things and employ people in America. And yeah, the Russian situation, they don't want to buy their energy from Russia. Perfect. Let's sell them ours. We should be a net exporter. We, go down the rabbit hole of how the United States is handling its energy consumption and production. I guess we need some more fourth generation nuclear power plants. My understanding is there's never been a meltdown with those. They're very safe. They're very productive, very powerful, very useful. Everything's like, oh, it's great until it's not. Oh, it's so great spraying DDT, or oh, it's this wonder drug, this wonder chemical. Wow, so good. Then you find out it's really bad for you. That is possible. But invest, purchase, work out the agreements. My understanding is that the details of the trade deal really focused on the fact that we have been at a negative for a very long time. And while this might not be necessarily punitive, you hear about reparations, and that phrase can be used 100 different ways. And, in a nutshell, it's like people that aren't you getting blamed and penalized for doing something you didn't do to people that weren't the people who are imposing and you're like, hang on, this is getting very convoluted. But at least in the trade deal, they were able to look at the brass tacks, look at the details, and say, you know what? You're right. We're taking in a lot. We're tariffing your stuff. It's not competitive. And it's like, bring it in at the lowest price and let us compete. I don't know if that'll hurt your market share or not. It doesn't matter. Invest over here. Let's help each other. Let's figure this out. By the way, if you don't, it's going to be I can't say impossible. That's not a phrase. That's a Ralph Wiggum. It would be unbeneficial. It would be beneficial to work out a deal. Otherwise, you won't be able to sell any of your products in our country. I mean, we're renegotiating everything with everyone everywhere. By the way, President Trump, one of the Easter eggs, one of the puzzle pieces about the Epstein thing is like, it could upset a bunch of deals that we're working on. Now, is there a more guilty country than England? Maybe Israel. You've heard China and Russia. Was Epstein just a free agent? He was going here, he was going there. We don't know. We're putting puzzle pieces together. And we don't have the final picture. Like we're doing the best we can. We don't even have a roadmap. We're making it up as we go. Trying to build the border, move similarly colored pieces together, sort it out. So the European Union is open. Their $20 trillion market. Our auto and industrial standards, first time ever, it's wide open. No tariffs. They're going to buy $750 billion in energy from us, which is going to make that's a huge deal. And they're going to invest $60 billion in America, and everything they send here is going to be at a 15% tariff rate. There you go. Our tariff will be set at 15% across the board. Today, says Howard Lutnick, is a historic day for the United States trade and will strengthen our relationship with the Europeans. Making America great again button. There you have it. Kablamo. A little bit more from Victor Davis Hanson.
I would like to talk a little bit about the strange, bizarre, endless, run-on, crazy interview that Hunter Biden gave with Andrew Callahan, a so-called internet influencer.
Yeah, they got a little bit of music in the background. Hopefully it'll be fine. Yeah, we referenced Hunter Biden at the top of the show, and you saw that last week. But like now that we've had a little bit of time to digest it, like what is going on?
It's very dangerous to think that for 4 years we had a president who was mentally challenged, cognitively disabled, suffering dementia. And the last year or two, if you look at photographs, videos of Biden giving a speech, Biden traveling, there's one constant. It's Hunter Biden. And after listening to that video, you can appreciate just how close we came to utter chaos and disruption that a mentally challenged president and his addicted son had the most power of.
Doggone music in the background. I'm just trying to listen to the words here. We have fair use rights to play clips so that we can react to them. But the whole story about the Hunter Biden laptop was mentioning just how dangerous it was to have somebody that compromised, somebody that bribed, somebody that blackmailed. It's a national security threat.
Anybody in the entire world, and we're running this government.
They were the ones running this place into the ground.
Bottom line, if you listen to even a clip of that interview.
Yeah, it didn't take long to figure out, like, this dude, he's saying he's clean. His brain is cooked.
It's frightening that this man was anywhere near the presidency and how he.
I mean, I don't know what was tougher to listen to. Hunter Biden during a manic phase or Joe Biden were in a dementia phase.
Got near the presidency, and how the president was the president is a scandal in itself of historical proportions. I would like.
Yeah. Joe Biden passing the health and fitness check. Don't understand how they were able to get away with that one. Him campaigning from the basement, never showing himself. I mean, that's a bit of a strain, a bit of a stretch. But it happened. It happened under the cover of COVID. It happened from the Chinese bioweapon that released, perhaps intentionally. I think it was an intentional lab release. Prove me wrong. I mean, you know, that's my working assumption. That's my hypothesis. They try to tell us it was accidental at a wet market. Like, they'll lie about anything. I'm not believing any official story from anyone. My instinct says that it was an intentional bioweapon release. And those whole 4 years were just a blur, just a weird time in American history, a time in global history. And yeah, Hunter Biden being anywhere near the seat of power is just terrifying. All right, continuing here. Donald Trump Jr. posted this. In 2020, I got two things to read. In 2020, Ratcliffe declassified Brennan's notes, exposing the Clinton campaign plot to make up the Russia hoax to damage my father. Now, Ratcliffe and Tulsi have sent criminal referrals to the Department of Justice to hold the whole deep state gang accountable. Talk about winning. Gunther Eagleman says, breaking, CIA Director John Ratcliffe just confirmed that John Brennan, James Comey, and Hillary Clinton are likely to be indicted over the involvement of Russiagate. Lock them up.
So what I think I hear
This is with Maria Bartiromo.
you saying is there is still an opportunity for indictments, potential prosecutions, accountability from those people who may have lied under oath, like John Brennan, James Comey, and perhaps Hillary Clinton.
Well, that's why I've made the referrals that I have. DNI Gabbard has made referrals.
Yeah.
And why we're going to continue to share the intelligence that would support the ability of our Department of Justice to make fair and just, bring fair and just claims against those who have perpetrated this hoax against the American people and this stain on our country.
Director, so what I think I hear you saying is there is still an opportunity for indictments, potential prosecutions.
The beginning again. Let's see what happens. There just have to be. There has to be a repercussion for weaponizing our government against our own citizens. That's what's happened to me. That's what's happened to the new American media. I mean, we've been targeted. We've been unable to earn a living. Our content has been censored, demonetized on YouTube, erased, profiles deleted, groups deleted, personal profiles removed on Instagram, Facebook, Meta products. Definitely shadow banned and censored on Twitter X. This isn't just about Trump. This is about all of us. And I happen to be aiming at a media landscape at the exact same time that people like me were being targeted by people like that. The people that were cooking books on Russian collusion and trying to frame the sitting president, trying to impeach the sitting president, staging a coup. A former president doing that, Obama, the wife of a former president, Hillary Clinton, and yes, that's the closest you'll get to the presidency, Hillary. That deep state apparatus came after you. If you dared try to figure out what was going on in the universe, you were targeted. This story is not a small story. This is a all-encompassing story of treason. So yeah, Ratcliffe, Brennan, Comey, Hillary likely to be indicted. We shall see. If there's any justice in the world, that is how it will work. Joey Manarino here says Ursula von der Leyen just handed President Donald Trump everything he wanted in that trade deal. Well, by the way, let's be careful on dancing on our trade opponent too much. Now, I've heard people say, well, did he have naked pictures of these people? Like, did he have blackmail evidence that made them do exactly what you wanted? And you go, well, if so, isn't that exactly what the Epstein story was about? But then you go, okay, well, I don't want to trade that way. If that gives me a leg up, I don't want to participate. That's something I find abhorrent. I'm not doing it. I can understand that completely. Completely. But Trump has said, I got other deals in the works and this would mess these up. I mean, you got leaders of finance. There's ways to settle out of court. There's ways to get restitution. There's ways that things can be handled privately. I mean, Prince Andrew comes to mind, but it's so frustrating about the Epstein thing because we don't know what we don't know. But we do know Trump is out there making deals that seem to be beneficial to the United States. That's something I'm going to focus on at the moment. I'm not saying, I'm not excusing, I'm not changing my opinion on Epstein at all. But a puzzle piece that Trump dropped is that there's a lot of plans in the works. There's a lot of negotiations that are happening. What if there is a stand down order? What if there is, you've lost your consent of the governed? You've lost your right to rule over these people based on what you've done. You're all losing your power. You're being stripped of your power. You could do this the hard way or the easy way. Oh, maybe you could take it an easier way. Perhaps. By the way, hit like, hit subscribe, however you are watching. Drop a message in the comments. Let me hear from you. So anyway, I'm just saying, let's not dance on our opponent too much. You want them to feel like they got something out of the deal. And look, like they've said, this has been an uneven trade deal for so long. What we just got was just to balance out how bad it's been over the past couple decades. We're going to get paid back one way or another. And I guess a lot of this is about the shipping routes. You heard President Trump making a big push to potentially consolidate Canada, Greenland, the shipping canals up through Alaska, over to England, just the whole Atlantic area, that whole shipping route. Thinking large. And the United States has been keeping the seas free for transit, relatively safe. We're kind of patrolling that. You either want piracy and attacks or you want some sort of stability to open up international trade, or else good luck. If you don't have international trade, more power to you. And if we're not funding it, then more power to you. Good luck. Yeah, and since we're funding it, we're going to change the terms. We're going to sell our products in your country, and it's going to be wonderful. And you're going to sell your stuff in our country, and we're going to take a taste. Yeah, that's kind of the cost of keeping the transit lanes open. We're the ones that have to incur those expenses. That's my understanding of this deal, but there's a lot to it, and I'm not going to make fun of the other side like they screwed up. I mean, maybe they did owe all this stuff. Objectively looking at the terms. Anyway, Joey says she got nothing from it for the EU. I'm honestly shocked that she signed that deal. Only the power of Trump could make that happen. The woman might be removed from her position with how awful that deal is for the EU. Or what was the alternative? 50% tariffs and we're going to shut down our ability to sell you energy? Who knows what they were threatened with? I just want to revisit this accusation. This is Army Hammer Time putting this out. Not familiar with this lady. Legendary investigative journalist Michelle McPhee joins Arnie in the latest episode. This is the accusation. I don't know what to make of it, but I heard this story and I haven't heard an update. I'd like an update.
There is something very large at play.
Comments have been disabled, which makes me wonder if this has been debunked, but why would you limit comments?
In the Palisades fire, there was a couple from Portland, Oregon, and they...
Let me look on Grok. Update on the Portland couple involved in the Palisades fires. Let's see what Grok has to say about that. I mean, because it is a pretty... Dustin Neal, 31, Jennifer Neal, 44, arrested on Jan 18 of 25 for impersonating firefighters and attempting unauthorized entry into an evacuation zone. Dustin is a convicted arsonist with a history of setting fires in Oregon in 2017. He arrived at a Palisades fire checkpoint in a decommissioned fire truck wearing firefighting gear and claimed to be a volunteer firefighter. LA Sheriff's Department detained the couple. Officials plan to request charges from the LA County District Attorney's Office for impersonation and unauthorized entry. No updates available on the status of their legal proceedings or current situation is the latest report. So there's no update. Why is there no update? And which LA department is in charge of what comes next? Is that the Sheriff's Department? There's no update. That's from January. That was half a year ago. Lack of update likely stems from the fact that their pre-trial hearing, scheduled for February 11, either didn't occur or no significant developments publicly reported since then. Legal proceedings often move slowly and without major events like a trial, plea deal, or dismissal. There may be little to report. Additionally, media coverage may have shifted away from this case due to its misdemeanor status or the absence of newsworthy developments. Okay, I can play you this.
Drove into the Palisades fire scene in a decommissioned fire truck. They had emblazoned this fire truck with the name Rolling River Fire Department.
Were they there like from minute one?
All I know is that they got into the scene 2 days in a row before they were stopped and arrested.
Whoa!
I don't know if they burnt shit down. We do know that they were acting suspiciously in the fire zone on a fake fire truck. Turns out the woman is a National Weather Service wind and fire expert who...
Doggone music in the background. I don't want to get some goofy copyright. A wind expert.
Teaches juvenile delinquents climate change issues.
Almost like you're grooming eco-terrorists.
They make rap songs called weather slaps.
Huh. Weather slaps.
And some of the lyrics go like, wait until you see it all burn.
I mean, you better not have released these people.
And her husband, the guy behind the wheel, is a convicted arsonist.
A convicted arsonist. I would like to learn more.
Who burned down country clubs and rich people's houses in a small town in Oregon.
Country clubs and rich people's houses.
Holy shit.
They were eco-terrorists. So I am convinced that this is an act of eco-terrorism.
That's insane to me.
There is something very large at play. In the Palisades fire, there was a couple from Portland, Oregon, and they drove into the Palisades.
That's comments limited. I can't comment. Huge accusation. We need to dig into that and find out what's up.
The thing that they
Schellenberger talking about the Putin-Trump story. Let's talk about who they had dirt on and who they weren't moving against. They were helping Hillary. or at least they were prepared to just let Hillary take over because they had a bunch of damning stuff on her.
Revealed in there was that the Russians had all of this dirt on Hillary that made her look terrible, and they didn't use it. Well, so if they wanted to hurt Hillary, why didn't they use it before the election? That's the most damning thing. Whereas like on Trump, it was they had so little. They had to go make up the Steele dossier with these crazy lies. Well, we should like really pause at how significant of a violation of the law that is.
Yeah.
Our intelligence agencies are not supposed to interfere in politics. Like, it shouldn't have to be said, but it's just really outrageous that they would be. And in part because the CIA, and this is, we forget about it because we always think of them as like, just spying or maybe as like military, kinetic action with SEALs. But the CIA originally is a political action body. Its job is to influence elections. The first most significant thing it does is it influences the 1947 elections in Italy. It was after that George Kennan, the great State Department containment strategist, said we have to use information warfare. We have to engage in
So this is from the Sean Spicer show with Michael Schellenberger.
Political warfare, not just military action, because of course it's easier to just overthrow the government with propaganda, protests, and military coups. But like the fact that this was the CIA that had been doing regime change and government overthrows for 80 years, then doing it against a domestic American president, I mean, that is a high crime.
You know what this sounds like? Remember during
High crime and misdemeanor. That's treason.
COVID, everyone's like, I don't know how you could possibly blame China for this, like these theories. And I'm like, Jon Stewart was the guy that did that viral clip, but it's like,
yeah. There's been an outbreak of rich chocolatey goodness in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I wonder what could be the culprit.
Yeah.
Really? Because
the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Let me see your business card. It says the Wuhan Institute of Virology. You literally have the biolab for the thing that released here. Huh.
There's a
I wonder what caused it.
coronavirus lab in Wuhan where it came from. And it's kind of like when you say that, like the whole Russia thing, it's like, really? Because Bill Clinton gets $500,000. Uranium gets approved by his wife right after that. God, there's no possible way there's a connection. And here we are again with the CIA, that it's like origins are in influencing an election, going, you think it's possible that they were influencing an election when literally that's what they were founded to do?
What other business could you be in where you commit fraud and you not only keep your job, but almost certainly were promoted? That's what's happened at the CIA. And that's not from a single source. That's multiple sources. And I suspect I'm in conversation with the CIA. They're supposed to get me a response to this. The thing that they revealed in there was that the Russians had all of this dirt on Hillary.
Hillary's the one that was the goner here.
That made her look terrible, and they didn't use it. Well, so if they wanted to hurt Hillary, why didn't they use it before the election? That's the most damning thing. Whereas like on Trump, it was they had so little. They had to go make up the Steele dossier with these crazy lies. Well, we should like really pause at how significant of a violation of the law that is.
Yeah.
Our intelligence agencies are not supposed to interfere in politics. Like, it shouldn't have to be said, but it's just really outrageous that they would be. And in part because the CIA, and this is, we forget about it because we always think of them as like, just spying or maybe as like military, kinetic action with SEALs. But the CIA originally is a political action body. Its job is to influence elections. The first most significant thing it does is it influences the 1947 elections in Italy. It was after that George Kennan, the great State Department containment strategist, said we have to use information warfare.
The info war. Oh, boy.
We have to engage in political warfare, not just military action, because, of course, it's easier to just overthrow the government with propaganda, protests, and military coups. But like the fact that this was the CIA that had been doing regime change and government overthrows for 80 years, then doing it against a domestic American president, I mean, that is a high crime.
You know what this sounds like? Remember during COVID?
All right. Sorry, that when they jump, I'm like, hold on, they did just say that? Or is he making another point that's similar to that? Yeah, they don't give you like the play bar there. But that's just how bad this was. That's how bad what the deep state has done. I mean, we're finding it out. Also want to find out just how bad we're talking about the California fire. Kevin P. Kiley here. That's looks like a video, but it's not. Update: President Trump has responded to his call for an investigation into fire aid, referring the matter to Attorney General Pam Bondi. We've learned that none of the $100 million that was donated went directly to LA victims, and nonprofits having nothing to do with fire relief received the grants. Nonprofits having nothing to do with fire relief received the $100 million raised. They're supposed to go directly to LA victims. It's time to shut down the deep state Democrat money laundering regime. That's what it is. They've gotten really good at it. And there's nothing more vile than stealing money from people who dealt with a catastrophic loss. All right, here's Molly Hemingway being concise, laying out the crimes about what's going on with Russiagate, why it matters, and maybe this can help us quickly keep in mind how to explain the story to others.
To 2016 is the Obama administration hid intelligence showing that Russia's meddling in the 2016 election was no big deal. They suppressed that because they didn't want Donald Trump to know about it. Then they immediately began leaking to the Washington Post and to the New York Times false things that weren't true, the opposite, that Russia had conspired with Trump to steal the election. And the Washington Post and New York Times, when they were asked to publish these things that were not true, they just went ahead and did it. They took the word of John Brennan and other sources like that who had made these false claims. Then the Obama administration manufactures a completely fake intelligence assessment, again with this claim that Russia had conspired with Trump to steal the election, and they leaked that to the media as well. Well, when they were receiving these leaks, the media did whatever these people wanted. They pushed this absolutely delusional conspiracy theory for years. And now that we know that, and it was a fake story, now that we know the real story, and the real story is shocking, the Obama administration suppressed real intelligence, and then they manufactured fake intelligence for the purpose of undermining a legitimately elected administration. The media are hiding it. And why? Because they were complicit in the crimes that were committed. They can't very well report what actually happened because the whole conspiracy would have gone nowhere if the media hadn't been so willing to just republish these lies from Obama. If it go back to 2016, is the Obama administration hid intelligence showing that Russia's meddling in the 2016 election was no big deal. They suppressed that because they didn't want Donald Trump to know about it. Then they immediately began leaking to the Washington Post and to the New York Times false things that weren't true, the opposite, that Russia had conspired with Trump to steal the election. And the Washington Post and New York Times, when they were asked to publish these things that were not true, they just went ahead and did it. They took the word of John Brennan and other sources like that who had made these false claims. Then the Obama administration manufactures a completely fake intelligence assessment, again with this claim that Russia had conspired with Trump to steal the election, and they leaked that to the media as well. Well, when they were receiving these leaks, the media did whatever these people wanted. They pushed this absolutely delusional conspiracy theory for years. And now that we know that, and it was a fake story.
Knowingly and intentionally false as well.
Now that we know the real story, and the real story is shocking, the Obama administration suppressed real intelligence, and then they manufactured fake intelligence for the purpose of undermining a legitimately elected administration. The media are hiding it. And why? Because they were complicit in the crimes that were committed. They can't very well report what actually happened because the whole conspiracy would have gone nowhere if the media hadn't been so willing to just republish.
They're co-conspirators. That's the key part I'm trying to drill home.
These lies from Obama. If it go back to 20.
All right. It is concise, and there's a lot to have figured out here. It's important that we know this. All right, well, here's the worst thing we're going to see all day. DC Drano says this is attempted murder. There should be filmed SWAT raids on all their houses with them being walked out in handcuffs. Give them max prison time. The only way this crap stops. This is Cincinnati. A couple over the weekend went out to a jazz concert and were beaten mercilessly by a group of rabid thugs, says DC Drano. The woman was knocked out cold after being punched in the face by a man. This disgusting hate crime needs to be severely punished. Mike DeWine hasn't posted about it, and Vivek Ramaswamy has barely touched it. Ohioans deserve strong police action. Send in SWAT teams to arrest these scumbags. you know, I ponder whether I should show this to you or not, but you need to know the story. I considered not showing it. So turn away. I'll get through it here as quick as I can. Dude getting sucker punched multiple times. He's backing up, moving out of the way, only to be met by more attackers, all of a different race. In 2025, attacks are usually covered by race. That's a component to the story. Like it, hate it, fair, unfair. It's what Barack Obama, the Obama doctrine, was to push and divide, drive a wedge in and split everything up by race whenever possible. Well, what do you do when this is the case? I don't know the backstory. This is how you're supposed to approach a video. I don't know what happened before this recording started. I don't know the complicity, culpability, or anything that these people were engaged in prior that could have had them as instigators, leading to a situation where this could be retrieval of stolen items or self-defense. We don't know. We don't know. So I approach the story that way. All of the reports I've read are missing a component that would place any blame on the part of these two people. These two, this white man and this white woman, who appear to be attacked by a large group of Black Americans in Cincinnati, Ohio. Don't know the context. But this dude's sucker punch, he's trying to get himself out of the situation. He's met with somebody behind, and now he's being ganged up on 1, 2, 3, 4. Head stomping. 5, 6, 7, 8. This is a free-for-all. There are girls trying to curb stomp this guy. A curb stomp is an attempted murder. Kicking in the head, kicking in the head, kicking in the head. And people just, oh. What do you mean, oh? Why don't you jump in and stop this? Getting kicked in the head again, curb stomped again. Attacked by a mob of people. 3 on him now. Getting hit in the head, hit in the head, hit in the head, hit in the head. Hit in the head, kicked. Kicked. Gross. Hit in the head. What the? If this isn't pissing you guys off, I don't know what to tell you. I hate showing this because, like, their moment of victimhood doesn't need to be aired any more than it needs to, but it needs to be aired at least once so we know what we're talking about. Oh, shit. This dude has been rocked. And he's still getting hit in the head by these people. For what possible reason? That looks like there's a white guy getting in there trying to stop this. This guy's on the ground trying to be helped up. He is wobbly. He's falling over. Again. And this guy's trying to keep people off. For what possible reason is this happening? And everybody got their phone out, just watching, having a good old time, recording some fun. Oh, shit! My boy drunk! There's some people trying to keep the mob off of him. Why are they attacking him? Damn! Okay, there's one black dude helping this guy. Now they're attacking his lady. And that dude knocks this lady out cold. Kill shit off her? Or wait, that's her friend trying to get her out of there? Just suffered head damage. Brain damage. What is this group of people around? Oh, what is happening here? Filming. Who's helping? Wait for her.
Help her out! Whoa!
This is Cincinnati. So we're just going to say we're going to need an update on the arrests ASAP. Looks like a hate crime, does it not? Despite decades and decades of people in the media, people in the Democrat Party, people in the lying legacy media, people in education, bombarding you with stories about, oh, America's a terrible place. America's a racist place. How many stories do you really see where white people are the aggressor? Mobs of white people attacking a black guy and his girlfriend, his date, his wife, whoever that is. How often do you see a white dude knock a black lady out cold? How often do you see that? Off the top of my head, I've seen it 0 times. Now, that's not to say there haven't been brawls, and that's not to say that women of all sorts of sizes, shapes, and colors have not punched men who have defended themselves. Once you start swinging at somebody's face, you're fair game to use self-defense. I didn't see that lady who got knocked out attacking anyone. Did you? Is there any context where these people kind of got what they deserved? I'm not seeing it. I really didn't want to play you that video. You know, it's that horrible world star culture. It's like, yeah, let's celebrate potentially permanently disabling people. Yeah, let's celebrate stupid fights and extreme unnecessary violence. So we're going to need some updates on this story. I don't know what else to tell you other than watching the footage. Update: Civil Rights Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon has announced that her office is closely monitoring how Cincinnati authorities respond to the black mob's violent assault on white people at a jazz festival. This according to the Real State of America. Yeah, you can't report on this was a mob attack. This was a gang of people. This was a mob attack. An unfair fight, as you call it. 2-on-1, 3-on-1, 4-on-1, 5-on-1. Jumping in to throw low blows at somebody who's already been taken down to the street. You've seen American History X. You've seen when you're on the ground, you're near a curb, you don't get a curb stomp. A curb stomp can lead to death. You know, obviously that scene was terrible. I feel like we've watched way more Hollywood depictions because American History X was about a neo guy, the Neo-N, Nazi, Edward Norton. And it was how he was radicalized by a group. I feel like we've had Hollywood show us, if not glorified, but Hollywood has shown way more depictions than we've actually seen by scrolling the internet. Cases in the past 10 years. I mean, how many are we talking? But yeah, you don't curb stomp people. The quote here: nobody in our great nation should be a victim of such a crime, and where race is a motivation, federal law may apply. And the people that have been pushing this notion that only white people can be racist, I mean, this is part of like the horrible poison that's been force-fed down the throats of Americans and really people across the planet for decades. Legacy media, education system, deep state Democrat, divisive, destructive ideology. So, yeah, that story's sickening. All right, Michael Schellenberger here saying Trump's tariff push failed. That's what the media said. But the new US-EU trade deal shows that it worked spectacularly well. The US will get 10 times more in revenue from tariffs on EU imports and $600 billion more in direct investments from the EU. Even Trump haters say it's a big win for the United States. That coming in from the Telegraph. It was obvious back in April that the aggressive tariffs were a negotiating strategy. A bunch of supposedly smart people acted really dumb about this because they are market ideologues and or Trump derangement syndrome sufferers. In April, many said the tariffs had no purpose, but Scott Bessent made clear tariffs were to force a negotiation. And now, 6 days after Liberation Day, it's worked. EU, UK, Japan, among 70 nations now negotiating. As they noted in April, the tariffs are messy birth of a new world order. It's nice to see the New York Times finally acknowledge this. The framework seemed to likely permanently reshape the trading relationship between two of the world's largest and most interconnected. There's no hiding the fact that the EU was rolled over by the Trump juggernaut, said one ambassador. Trump worked out exactly where our pain threshold is. How the EU succumbed to Trump's tariff steamroller. Relief at avoiding a trade war is tinged with regret at not taking a firmer stand from the start. Before the trade war, the average U.S. tariff rate on imports from the EU was 1.47%. Oh, so we took in 1.47%, and now it's 15%. I think they settled on 15%. Michael Schellenberger continues, this was never just about trade. The U.S. protects militarily The U.S. protects militarily it's a weird phrase, a largely ungrateful Europe at a cost of hundreds of billions of dollars per year. Trump ran on rebalancing that unbalanced relationship, and this is without question a major step toward that goal. So the people that say, oh, we got everything, they got nothing. No, they're getting plenty, and we've been funding it ourselves for far too long. Just like the Ukraine mess. No. This is not our credit card tab. You want to fund it? Buy it from us. Have at it. No. We're not putting this on our credit card. Hell no. You want to buy our missile systems, our defense systems, our drone systems? Fine. But we're not on the hook. We don't owe this. This isn't our war to fight. Healthy relationships depend on mutual respect. Ukraine and Europe don't respect us. They look down on us. This is from back in February. It's very different now. America never had any obligation to protect Ukraine, and now we're asking why we should continue to spend our money and put our lives on line to protect Europe. Part of the reason people got the tariff story so wrong is they couldn't imagine an alternative to the current global open society order. It's amazing what a difference. Actually, that'll be the comment. What a difference a real American commander-in-chief makes. What a difference. Michael Schellenberger said the Democrats lost because they had a weak candidate, an old president, and no Joe Rogan. Nonsense. They lost because they embraced globalism over nationalism. Yep. As a result, says the author of a prescient book on nationalism, the right may well dominate politics for a generation. The Financial Times depicts a European Union that couldn't get its head around what was happening. The EU's response to his return in power in January was flat-footed. Months of planning beforehand by a dedicated team, which included senior trade officials, led by another Brexit talks veteran, Sabine. As Steve Marin notes, economists are the people most trapped in abstract theories based on faulty assumptions. It makes sense that a businessman could see something that economists couldn't. TDS and elite education proved to be deeply disadvantageous in understanding what was going on. They said 15 to 20% tariffs might be optimal, but they wouldn't work because they'd retaliate and erode the benefits from the tariffs. Yeah, well, maybe not. Bravo on that trade deal. All right, here's a take on this awful attack.
The races were reversed in this incident, we would never stop hearing about it, but of course the media is completely silent.
Imagine being a dude of a different race knocking out a peaceful person of another race. Imagine doing that. And where the hell are the arrests? That guy's identifiable right now. Somebody knows that guy. Some of those cameras got that guy. We know how to find that guy. Where's his arrest? Awful, awful, awful.
This was at the Cincinnati Jazz Festival last night, where a violent black degenerate mob attacked a white couple for what seemed to be no reason. This woman was just trying to help her husband, and a black man came up and punched her in the face. As she laid there with blood literally pouring out of her mouth, he came up and lunged at her a second time. Here's her husband being attacked. And another video just came out of a third victim.
Sleeping again.
Cincinnati police are investigating a brutal assault on a couple that occurred downtown early Saturday morning after the Cincinnati Music Festival. The attack happened at the intersection of 4th and Elm Street, where a group assaulted the victims, leaving them injured. Authorities have not made arrests and are seeking public help to identify suspects. And the sickest part is there will probably never be an arrest. These people know that in liberal cities they're protected and can act pretty much any fucking way they want to. The media continues to fuel that fire by pretending like black on white crime doesn't exist. But if we're completely unprotected, you can't get pissed off when we decide to create our own communities. People are seething over projects like Return to the Land, but we can only take so much before we decide that we will no longer live like this. We have a right to self-preservation, and we don't want our women punched in the face by black men. If the races were reversed in this incident, we would never stop hearing about it, but of course the media is completely silent.
You gotta be really careful moving somebody after they've had traumatic brain injury. That's a traumatic brain injury right there. Potential chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Hello, Kenneth. Hello, Nick. Yes, you're jumping in at the worst story of the day. Don't worry, I'll get to Sydney Sweeney. Absolutely disgusting.
This was at the Cincinnati Jazz.
All right. Don't want to see that anymore. We've covered the story. All right. Let's talk about CNN. Look at this. Don Lemon. Yeah, he told us that Trump was telling lies.
Maybe the biggest lie of all. Repeatedly, and with no facts to back him up, making the outrageous claim that the so-called deep state spied on his campaign. He did it again today.
But I hope it's not true, but it looks like it is.
It's not true.
Don Lemon told you that it wasn't true that he was being spied on. This smug propagandist, liar.
It's a lie.
Did the intelligence community spy on President Trump and his campaign?
No, we did not.
This is not just an angry president popping off. This is a deliberate and coordinated effort to save his presidency, to cast doubt on the Russia investigation by repeating a lie.
Democrats accusing you of what they're doing.
Repeating it every chance he gets. And that repetition is a key part of the strategy here. Because if you hear him say the same thing over and over and over, it gets into your head. You may even start to wonder if there's some truth to it.
This concerning new report accusing President Obama's CIA of curating the 2016 Russia collusion hoax.
Yeah, wow, what a difference 6 years makes. If only some of us had been saying the exact same thing for 6 years, not leading you astray, telling you the truth, hey, then you'd have the new American media. There you'd go. Hello, everybody. Don Lemonade. Oh, boy. Kenneth. Hello to everybody in chat. Kenneth, Jen, Nick, and everyone else. Thank you all for jumping in here in the program.
By asking foreign intelligence agencies to illegally spy on the Trump campaign?
Yep, they framed him. You're not supposed to be weaponizing your own government against your political opposition, but they did it.
John Brennan had identified 20.
I think Brennan is most likely to go down. I think Hillary is second most likely. I think you're going to be able to get Obama. I think you're going to be able to say there were certain things he could have pretended. He might be able to pretend like, well, I was told he's going to turn on Brennan in a heartbeat. Well, well, it's not like it was his plan. It was he was definitely part of the coordinating plan of what was happening there. But that being said, he continued while Trump was president. He continued while Biden was president. So I think there's no escaping culpability. I think you're going to catch Obama, but I think Brennan most likely, Hillary second most likely, Comey, Clapper. I mean, where do you stop? This was a coordinated effort. You should make sure you go after Jack Smith, the investigator. You should go after, actually go after Jack Dorsey, go after Mark Zuckerberg. Now, they can claim that they were strong. Well, yeah, we did it. We censored, but we were told. Brennan told us. He said, guys, they're trying to steal our democracy. I think they're all going to turn their fingers on Brennan. I don't know how much of that's believable because the story was never believable. Oh my gosh, Deb is here too. What is going on? We've done the whole first hour of the show without anybody in the chat. How wild is that? That rhymes. Welcome, everybody. Please hit like, hit subscribe, however you're watching.
6 Trump associates for the Five Eyes to target. A source confirmed that the IC had identified them as people to bump.
So they planted fake evidence against Trump. Then they used the Five Eyes, make sure everybody could spy on everybody loosely affiliated with the Trump team. Yeah, this is Watergate on steroids. Watergate is nothing. It's a literal nothing burger compared to this. Nothing compared to this. They have to be indicted for what they've done. Or else you're saying that this is okay. And if it's not okay when one side does it, it shouldn't be okay for the other guy to start it.
Or make contact with or manipulate. They were targets of our own IC and law enforcement, targets for collection and misinformation.
Maybe
There you go. It is true, and it's not a lie. All right, so here's this accusation here. What is this? Secretary Marco Rubio said Maduro is not the president of Venezuela. Hang on, let's unpack this.
Yo, check this out. The sitting U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, just said that Maduro is not the president of Venezuela and his regime is not the legitimate government. Maduro is the head of the Cartel de los Soles, a narco-terror organization which has taken possession of a country, and he is under indictment for pushing drugs into the United States. Yo, that is a bold statement. That's basically saying that Maduro, who is in charge of a cartel organization, took over an entire country. What do you guys think that means? We've designated all these different cartel organizations as designated foreign terrorist organizations. So that means that the U.S. government has the authority to execute military operations against them because, like, that's kind of like the loophole for it. What do you think that means, that statement? Do you think that means that he's interested in militarily getting involved in Venezuela or something? Do you think the war on drugs is going to go back to Venezuela like it was at least in South America during the 80s when Reagan was president? Because that's a bold statement. That's a real bold statement. Yo, check this out. The sitting
All right. Well. So we'll type Venezuela, huh? How about Brazil? Let's take a closer look there too. That's what I'm saying. All right, so keep your eyes on Venezuela. I mean, did Rubio just put this out? Under indictment for pushing drugs into the United States. Is the United States going to arrest Maduro? Huh. All right, it's on your radar now. Let's keep a look. A few weeks ago, Gavin Newsom assured that California was gaining population. Is that true? This is from Coppola Films.
40th governor of California, leading the nation's most populous state since 2019 and the 4th largest economy in the world.
Eat your heart out, Japan.
So I'm wondering did you come here to hang out with the 92,000 Californians that
Oh, you go.
infiltrated.
You're hitting me right there, man. The California exit. By the way, complete bullshit. Now, the last 2 years, we've seen significant growth in California.
By the way, keep your eyes peeled. The Democrats have been told they need to swear more. They've been told that if they swear more, they're going to be believable. Okay. There's nothing authentic about Gavin Newsom.
His population, so it's reversed, and record-breaking tourism. Now the fourth largest economy in the world. We dominate in every major industry, including the number one manufacturing state in America, 41% larger than the next largest state.
Oh, that's got to be shrinking. You can't do business in that state.
And so we're really proud of California.
Okay, they are packing up their U-Hauls and they are saying bye-bye. Once again, a new study is showing that more people are moving out of California than actually moving in. We want to bring our business and tech reporter, Scott Budman, in. Scott, we've been saying.
Oh, that's good production. How he walks in a dimly lit right up onto the stage. All right, that's good production. That's fun, right?
Saying this for the last couple of years.
The California exit, by the way, complete bullshit now the last 2 years.
All right, well, flee blue cities, flee blue states button. Yeah, you got to change these policies. And I suspect that if you could clean up the voter rolls, that these big cities don't vote blue either. I think they just found a way to deliver ballots that get counted. I think so. Gavin Newsom. All right, back to Epstein. Just here's a bit of did you know?
2 days.
This is Patrick Bet David.
Before he killed himself, allegedly, committed suicide. You know what he did 2 days before he killed himself?
What?
Epstein's estate transferred $577 million into a trust he created 2 days before his death. And it was called the 1953 Trust. Why 1953? That's the year he was born. A little weird. 2 days before, kind of weird. Either you are like fully prepared, or it's a little weird. Remember how earlier we were talking about Bill Barr connection with the dad and all this other kind of little weird, Bill Barr, New York Times called him the ultimate cover-up general. New York Times called him that in 1992 when they were going through a complete different thing. Imagine Bill Barr's being called the cover-up general 33 years ago by New York Times. Damn! That kind of a reputation for this long. Bill Barr's role as Attorney General during Epstein is extremely significant. Why? Because some are calling this the ultimate potential intelligence cover-up. His background, past behavior in the context of Epstein's death led to many describing Barr as a CIA fixer or the guardian of the deep state. 2 days before he killed.
We are just putting puzzle piece after puzzle piece together. And I think at the end of the day, maybe that could be a question of the day. Type it in the chat. What is breaking news? What is this? Deion Sanders. Why is he trending? Okay, he's been cured of cancer. He had a bladder tumor. I think he also lost toes or a foot or something. Diabetes or something? I don't know. All right. Thoughts and prayers to Deion Sanders, the father of Shedeur Sanders, the new Cleveland Browns quarterback. And Emmanuel Classe has been placed on leave over a gambling probe. Oh my gosh. We'll keep our eyes peeled on that. Yeah, California. Can't afford you. California exit is real. Yes, Deb. Gavin blew some. Yeah, Gavin blows all the time. But yeah, the Epstein story, we were just putting puzzle piece after puzzle piece together. It looks like the same interview, but a different segment here about the Russiagate.
Well,
Molly Hemingway here.
What happened when you go back to 2016 is the Obama administration hid intelligence showing that Russia's meddling in the 2016 election was no big deal. They suppressed that because they didn't want Donald Trump to know about it. Then they immediately began leaking to the Washington Post and to the New York Times false things that weren't true, the opposite, that Russia had conspired with Trump to steal the election. And the Washington Post and New York Times, when they were asked to publish these things that were not true, they just went ahead and did it. They took the word of John Brennan and other sources like that who had made these false claims. Then the Obama administration manufactures a completely fake intelligence assessment, again with this claim that Russia had conspired with Trump to steal the election, and they leaked that to the media as well. Well, when they were receiving these leaks, the media did whatever these people wanted. They pushed this absolutely delusional conspiracy theory for years. And now that we know that...
Yep, they were the ones pushing conspiracy theories. And then they tried to tell you that the legitimate stuff you're talking about was a conspiracy theory.
It was a fake story. Now that we know the real story, and the real story is shocking, the Obama administration suppressed real intelligence, and then they manufactured fake intelligence for the purpose of undermining a legitimately elected administration. The media are hiding it. And why? Because they were complicit in the crimes that were committed. They can't very well report what actually happened because the whole conspiracy would have gone nowhere if the media hadn't been so willing to just republish these lies from Obama officials. Well, what happened?
There you go. Yep, that was mostly the same. It started at different points, so I wanted to make sure. But yeah, we got to learn this story so we can repeat it to our friends and other people. Because it's important, and we can't let up on this. There's a lot of people that don't understand just how bad this was and just how far it's reached. All right. Where are we at? Closing that out. All right, Breitbart here reporting. Switch the screen. There we go. When We Are Breitbart says, when renowned nonpartisan investigator Peter Schweizer names names, official Washington pays attention. And Schweizer did just that. On this week's broadcast of Fox News Channel Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo, GAI President Peter Schweizer said former CIA Director Gina Haspel should undergo further investigation regarding the alleged Russia collusion intelligence efforts by former President Barack Obama and his top officials. One name I'd like to see out there more is Gina Haspel. She was the CIA director appointed by Donald Trump. She certainly had access to this material. It's interesting to me that she was the London chief of the CIA in the 2000s. In 2014, CIA Director John Brennan sent her back there, which was a highly unusual move. And she was there during this period. Much of the fake Russia collusion intel from Steele and others was coming out of London. So what role did she play in creating this? And also, what role did she play in suppressing it when she was the CIA director and she was supposed to be serving Donald Trump rather than the CIA establishment? On former staffers denying they saw any of President Joe Biden's mental decline, Schweizer said the notion that White House staffers were insisting that he seems fine to us is ridiculous. Just look at the numbers. In 2021, he had just 58 known phone calls with foreign leaders. By 24, that was down to 20. Look at the press conferences. He went from having 9 solo press conferences to 0 in 2024. There were conscious decisions being made to make sure he was not being exposed to the public. Indict all the co-conspirators. Button. The story's all out there. That's another puzzle piece. Gina Haspel. Representative Mary Miller says Chinese nationals were the #1 foreign buyers of U.S. homes. Did you know that? Buying up $13.7 billion worth of our residential property. Oh, that's so great. Isn't that wonderful? How soon after the Chinese bioweapon was unleashed to cause complete havoc across the globe, when were all these purchases made? Just recently or during the entire pandemic? almost as if it was planned, almost as if it was a coordinated attack, a bioweapon attack on America, on the globe for that matter. Civil liberties shut down, censorship, First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, all sorts of restrictions placed on our lives. And Chinese nationals, look at that, buying almost $14 billion worth of residential property. Meanwhile, Americans are being priced out of the market. This is a national security threat that should concern everyone, says Representative Mary Miller. We'll type in the comments all of this coming during the shock wave of when China unleashed COVID on America. Wonder if these two stories might be connected, and if the link is shown, can these purchases be undone? Question mark. Okay, that was a little wordy, but those are the thoughts I had there. Raging West says there have been 25 peaceful protests this week against illegal migration, each attended by thousands. Not a single one has been reported by the legacy media. I wonder why. Europe is very against this forced invasion, this colonization of the Obama doctrine. All right, let's check in on the Muslim Brothers. You've heard of them. What is their goal? It's infiltration. Where? American society. According to who? According to this lady.
Muslim Brotherhood has been working on infiltrating the American society and American politics for too long, at least for 40 years now, since they started working on their 100-year plan to sabotage America from within, which is officially known as an explanatory memorandum for the Muslim Brotherhood.
Explanatory memorandum for the Muslim Brotherhood activating or activities in North America. It sounds like this is Dalia Zada, ISGAP research analyst, reveals the long-term plan for the Muslim Brotherhood pursued to infiltrate American society and politics from within. 100-year plan.
Activities in North America. It depends very much on patience and gradualism.
Patience and gradualism. Well, it hasn't been very patient or very gradual in Europe. Europe is completely changing.
Meaning that they wait for the right moment.
Yeah, they're waiting for the right moment. But by the way, yeah, you notice how Mayorkas and Biden and those people would talk about, oh, there's a migrant crisis. No. It's an invasion. It is a forced colonization. You're participating in redistributing people with different values, different ideas, people that want to see Sharia law, which is incompatible with the United States Bill of Rights, our Constitution, our civil liberties. Those two cannot coexist. That's exactly why you screen people for immigration. Well, what are you trying to do? I'm trying to come over here and infiltrate and invade and overthrow. To what? Well, we have this idea that Sharia law should violate the civil liberties of Americans and everybody on the globe for that matter. You go, all right. Well, thanks for being so candid. Your request has been denied. That's why you're supposed to check people. That's why you're supposed to find out what intentions people have, and you give them time. You don't just wave a magic wand and do it right off the bat. It's part of a process and an investigation.
To jump in, to infiltrate, to enter.
But they would call it a crisis, but it was definitely a plan. Not accidental, very intentional.
In certain events, like for example, what they did on 9/11, like the BDS campaign between 2007 and 2017, and now the aftermath of October 7. So this is how they have been playing this game for so long. And unfortunately, 40 years after they have written this explanatory memorandum, it looks like they are doing a good job so far.
So, what do you make of that? Here's a Polish politician tearing down the European Union flag, wiping his shoes with it and burning it. He stated that Poland would not display the symbols of what he called a hostile organization. This is Poland, not Brussels. Globalism is losing. Globalism is an effort to destroy the sovereignty of independent nations, installing some sort of new world order. Anyway, he makes a point and he burns it, so check that one out. I've played you that before. All right, yeah, this group just attacked for no reason. A gang of people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, stomping, punching, stomping. I don't want to play that for you anymore.
Advocate for their safety, and I am here today because of the alleged.
Let's switch. Let's go to this profile. On our X feed, by the way, hit like, hit subscribe, however you are watching today. Thank you so much for being here. Follow the New American Media, scrolling on the bottom at all those blue places: Instagram, Facebook, True Social, Rumble, Odysee, Twitch, Kick, D Live, and YouTube under the New American Media. Also, to anybody who is linked up with us on Patreon, thank you so much. Your support means the world to us. We have a lot of reoccurring expenses. In your support, I mean, we are crowdfunded. So instead of ad reads where I tell you to buy a certain kind of coffee or a certain kind of pillow or a certain kind of whatever, I just remind you that we have tip jars out there. So thank you to everyone linked up with us on Patreon. We are at the New American Media. We have a tip jar, Venmo and Cash App. That's at BrianEngelman, BrianEngelman. And then on PayPal, the email is fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. Fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. Thank you to all of you who are linked up with us. There you go, Nick Adams. Thanks for sharing that on X, saying, come unpack the news with us. Yes, that really is sort of my catchphrase. Like, let's unpack the news. I don't know. Maybe other people say it. It's not a novel phrase, but that is what I do. Let's unpack it. Let's just see let's open it up. What do we got? And that's what I do every day. We unpack the news and look at it together. So thank you. Kyle Becker saying the corrupt FBI agent who led Clinton's server and Trump-Russian collusion investigations, Peter Strzok, just deleted all of his X posts. Oh, did you now, Peter Strzok? Tick-tock. This comes amid a slew of criminal referrals sent to the Department of Justice over the Russia hoax. Good morning. Let's go, people. All right. Elon, LiDAR, sensor fusion, optimal for autonomous driving. Okay. Elon says, yeah, but what do I know about tech? Funny. There's our feed. Okay, what is this? Well, it's a post on all the things to talk about and think about. It's all the third rails. Take a look at that post. It's interesting. Our reply was just question with boldness everything. There's not a topic too taboo for conversation and debate to sharpen discernment. Says you can question 9/11, the moon landing, COVID, slavery, Vietnam, Jesus, or God himself, but not the Holocaust. Why? So read it all. I don't know what I believe on that. I've heard what some people want me to believe. They both can't be accurate at the same time. Bill Mitchell says, so do I have this straight? The European Union will pay us a 15% tariff on exports to the U.S. while charging the U.S. zero in tariffs on goods sold there. And they promised to buy hundreds of billions of dollars in U.S. energy and arms? Did Trump have pictures of them naked? That was Bill Mitchell. So, yeah. Gateway Pundit shows CIA is working with the Department of Justice to release explosive info that shows more evidence of directly implicating Hillary Clinton in the Russia hoax, Comey, Brennan, and Clinton all in perjury jeopardy. Let's go. John Ratliff here. Lisa Page confirmed under oath that the FBI was ordered by the Obama DOJ not to consider charging Hillary. Well, let's just listen to a clip of this from Brett Baer.
About what the Obama Justice Department ordered federal lawyers to do
and not to do concerning the Hillary Clinton email investigation. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge tells us in sworn testimony on Capitol Hill, one of the insiders told lawmakers what she was told.
During closed-door testimony last summer, former FBI lawyer Lisa Page said the Obama administration's Justice Department advised the FBI not to pursue the gross negligence statute for Hillary.
Gross negligence. Oh, that's a generous phrase.
Clinton in the mishandling of classified information. Former U.S. Attorney and House Republican John Ratcliffe led the line of questioning about the statute known as 18 U.S.C. 793. Ratcliffe, you're making it sound like it was the department that told you you're not going to charge gross negligence because we're the prosecutors. Page interrupted. That is correct. Page's testimony appears to conflict with then FBI Director James Comey's recommendation in July 2016 against criminal charges for Clinton.
What I can assure the American people is that this investigation was done honestly, competently, and independently. No outside influence of any kind was brought to bear.
The Republican-led House Oversight and Judiciary Committee investigation ended in January. With Democrats now in control, the committee's new ranking Republican made the Page transcript public.
The transcript releases show an inherent two-tier system, one in which Hillary Clinton gets the treatment that she got, where they was actually at first concerned that they were going to charge her, and then with Loretta Lynch in charge, before she recused herself, made it very clear that that was not going to happen.
The tip-off came from a chart drawn up by
Loretta Lynch.
Federal investigators assigned to the Clinton case known as mid-year exam. Fox News has confirmed that the chart listed possible federal statutes for prosecution. Next to gross negligence was a notation, quote, DOJ not willing to charge this. Only known cases are military. Cases when accused lost the information. In response to the Page revelations, the president tweeted the transcripts, quote, make the Obama Justice Department look exactly like it was, a broken and corrupt machine. The Page transcript also confirms Fox's earlier reporting. The Page testified Russia collusion was still unproven when special counsel Robert Mueller was appointed. Brett?
Captain, thank you.
That's a lot to unpack. That's another puzzle piece. All right. Here is Byron Donalds, representative, saying unelected Biden White House insiders, including Jill, Hunter, and others, used an auto pen to sign executive orders and pardons while Joe Biden was cognitively impaired. Reports suggest pardons were sold for profit, and Representative Donalds is demanding an investigation. How do you like them apples? Let's see where it goes, and let's see if you can get Anthony Fauci's rescinded. Put him up on trial for crimes against humanity. This Max Boot fella here says you're laughing about the fact that Russia is interfering in our election process. That's immoral. Then Tucker gloriously mocks Boot for 6 minutes. In 24, Max Boot's wife was indicted as a foreign agent accused of being a spy for South Korea. So check that one out. I believe this quote is attributed to Jon Stewart. I've been shocked at,
I've been shocked by how undemocratic the Democratic Party can be.
Tell me, what do you mean by, I don't disagree with you necessarily, but what do you mean by that?
By putting.
I don't disagree with you necessarily. We watch what we watch. They keep selecting people, rigging the primaries over Bernie to get to Hillary, rigging the primaries to install Biden. I mean, Biden and Harris were the two least popular people in that Democrat Party in 2019. They're the ones that they coalesced around them because they were blackmailable, controllable, bribable. They were figureheads. They could run the country behind the scenes. They don't want someone who thinks and does things on behalf of the American people. They want a puppet, and that's what they got. Then they did it in 2024 when they made sure Biden collected up all the delegates from the Democrat primary process. Then they just had him drop out and they installed Kamala. Kamala didn't win anything. Kamala wasn't elected. She was selected.
Putting their foot on the scales to get, make sure that Hillary Clinton comes out of the thing, or make sure that, that they're listening to that anger about the way that even the ACA, quite frankly, struck me as a very conservative.
You mean because it didn't have a public option in it?
Correct. That it didn't address the very thing that was causing the foundational upset. If I were to break this down narratively, what I think the Democrats have forgotten is government may not be perfect, but it's the only thing large enough to offset multinational corporate exploitation and corruption.
There is that.
And if we don't act like that's urgent and that affects people's lives, then yeah, so if the big policies that we make are billions more dollars to insurance companies that we think are fucking people over left and right for their healthcare, so isn't that part of why people lost faith?
Yeah. So yes, I think we're saying, well, I'm trying to say something similar, which is this.
Boom, boom.
Which is,
and by the way, Obama had a chance to do something good with healthcare. He didn't. What he could have done is said, look, we got problems. People complain about, here's the top 20 list of complaints. You've all experienced some of this, right? So we're starting a nationwide project. We're going to put the best minds together. And we're going to try some new things state by state. We're going to try a couple of different radical ideas, and we're going to fund it. We'll provide a backstop. So the government, so we'll maybe fund some of these things as projects to see if we can fix some of these problems. Then we're going to report back in a year. We're going to find the things that worked the best, the things that we were surprised did not work at all. Make sure we don't implement that. And we're going to put a robust plan together to change things. But they didn't have time for that. They had time to ram something through. And it was 1,600. I forget how many pages, a trillion pages. Maybe they just mentioned how many pages. I forget. They just rammed it through. They had Congress. They had a brief window of opportunity. Ram it through, ram it through, ram it through. Even if you don't want it, ram it through. If it doesn't work, ram it through.
Democrats just lost everything. They control nothing.
And by the way, yeah, I lost. I said, if you like your plan, you can keep your plan. If you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. We were just 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. Yeah, if you like your plan, you can keep your plan. Like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. I lost my plan, I lost my doctor, and my premium doubled. I mean, like, you can't get lied to any worse than what happened. What they did to seize 1/6 of our economy in healthcare.
They control. I mean, they don't control the House, they don't control the Senate, they don't control the White House, and they don't control the Supreme Court. So now is the time to break some shit, right? And break some China.
They do control the email lists that continue to ask for money.
Well, that's true.
They still have that.
See, Jen Psaki swearing like they've all been told, drop some casual swearing. It's kind of transparent. It's like when Marge Simpson does something. Well, that makes me cool, right? And you're like, now it's uncool. They're about ready to make swearing uncool. Brian Cates says, what I've been telling you going on for 5 years now, how each new act to further a criminal RICO conspiracy resets the statute of limitations clock. So yeah, it's a 9-year ongoing RICO conspiracy of treason to wage a coup, to overthrow the duly elected president of the United States. There's that awful, awful, awful Cincinnati story. Laura Loomer talking with Patrick Bet-David about the very first time we heard about the Epstein videotapes.
The first mention of those videotapes, even as much as I love O'Keefe, it wasn't O'Keefe. The video caught Pam Bondi at a breakfast admitting that the tapes had child pornography on them. But the first mention of it was actually Roger Stone over a decade ago in his book, The Clintons' War on Women, when he was mentioning, all the flights, Lolita Express, going to Epstein Island, all that stuff, right? And he said that the files have it's in his book. He says the files have likely been destroyed, and a lot of it is child porn that will never be released to the public. I've known that for a while too, because I read Roger's book years ago. The first mention.
Another puzzle piece. John Basham here says, breaking DC sources tell me the Republicans on the Senate Intelligence Committee, chaired by Senator Tom Cotton, are crafting legislation that would start restricting DNI Gabbard from reviewing and releasing to the public deep state intel files showing that they've all been criminal. Don't know if that's accurate, but General Mike Flynn is curious. He says, why, Tom Cotton, Arkansas? This is starting to look really bad for you. So is Tom Cotton part of the bad guys? We shall see. There was a terrible incident over the weekend. Amber Paul here on Facebook, looks like they shared a comment saying a foreign guy just lost it on random people in the produce and grocery area. African-American guy pulled a hero move and pulled his pistol out and tried to get him to stop, but then people screamed and workers said run, so the guy slipped out in the crowd. Old woman and child for sure were stabbed, along with many more. Laura Loomer says the man who just stabbed nearly a dozen innocent people inside a Walmart in Michigan is being described by witnesses as a foreign guy. Sadly, Michigan has been destroyed by Islamic invaders who have ruined majority European cities in Michigan that have now been ruined by women in burqas and the stench of shawarma. It's highly likely that the man who stabbed people in Michigan today is an Islamic immigrant. All right. That's what Laura Loomer's saying. Let's break it down. Okay. Nearly a dozen people stabbed. That's factual. At least this witness, Amber Paul, says it was a foreign guy. Not sure how that person knows that. Were they speaking a different language? For what reason do they say that? Michigan has been absolutely targeted, along with Michigan, along with Ohio. I mean, pick your place. There have been swing states that have been targeted to flip. Look at the demographics of people that vote. Look at what the Democrats are trying to do. They know that they can't win elections if they keep the same demographics, so they're trying to change the demographics. They don't want assimilation of a few, the best of the best, like a college. You admit people that are really smart, really well-spoken, they have something to offer, they have a good story, they got drive, you filter out and you bring the best of the best in and you level up. I mean, that's what assimilation and immigration is supposed to be. But that's been changed. The Obama doctrine has been dump 30,000 Somalis in Springfield, Ohio. It said, hey, take Dearborn, Michigan, and turn it into like United Arab Emirates or Pakistan, or I mean, go up into Vancouver. That was the story up there. That was you've dumped India into Vancouver. You've changed our city. You've changed our country. When there's not assimilation, it's an invasion. So has Michigan been destroyed by Islamic invaders? I mean, how many people have been brought in? How many of those people want to stand up for the Bill of Rights and the American civil liberties that we have? Or how many people want to be abusive and steal rights of people under a Sharia law that many Islamic folks tend to prefer? Well, that's fine. You can prefer something else somewhere else. We don't do that in America. Jen, not a Laura Loomer fan. What do you dislike about Laura Loomer? Her appearance or her content? So I don't know. She says it's highly likely the man who stabbed people in Michigan is an Islamic immigrant. Maybe. Let's ask Grok. Actually, I don't want to do it on this Grok. Let me do it here. Was the Michigan stabber born in the United States? We should have this answer by now. Bradford James Gilly, 42-year-old man from Sheboygan County, Michigan. While the information confirms he's a Michigan resident, it does not explicitly state whether he was born in the U.S. Can you look deeper to determine if this person is a citizen of the U.S.? Why don't we have this information? This should be one of the first who, what, where, when, why. Careful consideration. What careful? What do you need to be? Birth records, legal documentation. He was booked in the jail. Like, you should have. Resident of Afton, Michigan, and Sheboygan County, lived in several nearby counties, including Emmett, suggesting a long-term presence in Michigan. Criminal history includes charges in Michigan and Florida dating back to at least 2007, indicating a significant period of residency, but not citizenship. Several posts explicitly state that Gilley is an American citizen, for example. Someone called him a white Caucasian male. So, I mean, that anytime we're going through these stories, we have to slow down, not make assumptions, and try to figure out the who, what, where, when, why. This one says, not an immigrant. He's a white dude who reportedly lived in northern Michigan most of his life. It's an assumption, but we're not sure. Long history of interactions with law enforcement, public intoxication, assault, battery, drug offenses. Dismissed charge due to mental health issues. Oh, you can't dismiss people for mental health and then jump them back into Gen Pop. If they can't be convicted because of mental health issues, then they need to remain institutionalized. You can't just dump crazy people back into the universe because they start stabbing at people again. I don't care if this person is Christian or Islamic. Clearly, they're missing the point. Well, some might say something different there, but what I'm saying is, I don't care what this person looks like. I don't care where they're from. I care about the actions. And if this person does have a long criminal history and he avoided punishment because he's nuts, you got to keep that person institutionalized. So anyway, looking into this story, I don't know. So I find what Laura put out here to be problematic. This sheriff refused to answer when asked if the man is from the area. Said he was a Michigan resident. At this time, I'd rather not comment. We all know what that means. The suspect is likely an Islamic immigrant. 11 people have been stabbed. Well, to judge and critique what Laura Loomer here said, like, I get it that it's cagey that he won't just say he's a citizen of America if he is. We've been lied to. I mean, the trans shooter, the gender dysphoria shooter in Nashville, the manifesto, that was hidden. It's like, people can handle the truth. Just tell us what's going on. Just tell us, where are we at? What are we talking about? What is the latest? This post I find to be a perfect case study of in the absence of information, speculation will run rampant. In the absence of information, speculation will run rampant. You already processed this guy. Can't you just say, yes, he was born in Michigan. He's a citizen of the United States. At this point, can't you process and figure that out? Unless you can't figure that out, unless this person is not. So, hello, Lyra Quinn on Kick. How are you, Lyra Quinn? Kenneth would like to see Laura in her bloomers. No, it's Laura Loomer. There's no B there. Don't make a joke about there being no D there either, because that would be a funny joke too. All right, Kyle, we could make several jokes about that, but I'm not the type to make jokes. Okay, take a look at this mass outrage here. Stephen Colbert has accused CBS of firing him because the network surrendered to Trump. He's now called on New Yorkers to join him in protesting. CBS, truly a massive crowd showed up. You got about 10 people there. Well, that's about enough that it would take for the woke Cleveland Indians to remove their mascot, the woke Cleveland Indians to remove their team name. You know, you have 7 people in masks in 2025 standing around. Oh, yeah. Oh, we got to hurry up and do what these people say. Yeah, okay. Peter Strzok, according to C3, wiped his X account. But the internet is forever. Here's a video of Pete testifying under oath that the entire 7th floor at the FBI is guilty. From Comey to McCabe to Strzok, all part of the treasonous conspiracy. It's time for justice. Let's play it. This guy just looks evil.
At every step, at every investigative decision, there are multiple layers of people above me, the assistant director, executive assistant director, deputy director, and director of the FBI, and multiple layers of people below me, section chiefs, supervisors, unit chiefs, case agents, and analysts, all of whom were involved in all of these decisions.
There you go. You told on yourself. And you also have a duty to check the stuff that you're doing to see if you might be doing a private hit job, violating the civil rights of President Trump. You have an obligation to at least use some discernment. You don't just take orders. The Nuremberg Code said you're not allowed to do that. Oh, this is going to get great when it turns into the Spider-Man meme. When they start, but you're the, no, there's layers of, no, everybody was involved. No, you're the one that hid the, I didn't know. I was just acting on best intelligence. No, you're the one. You're the, That's going to be glorious. Tommy Robinson showing that police will stop your vehicle carrying your young family for the crime of carrying flags of England.
Was that not you? Let me guess, it weren't you. Yeah, it weren't you.
England has fallen. They've been invaded by an Islamic takeover.
He come over and said, "This is your vehicle." I said, "No." I said, "Why?" Or maybe he said the wrong word.
I don't know the context of this video, but the thought police in England, the speech police, they're targeting people that say, "I don't want unchecked immigration to permanently change the fabric of my nation." There's nothing wrong with that. And anyone that wants you to believe that there's something wrong with that, there's something wrong with that person. Keep it in mind. Keep it in mind. All right, so here's a little bit of footage from this agreement. Let's check it out. George at Bahezi tweets, he's a good follow, says even the fake news reporters couldn't believe how good Trump's trade deal with the European Union is. After hearing the details of this deal, the reporter had to ask, what are the U.S. concessions? What is the U.S. giving up in the deal, if anything? Ursula replies, so let's take a watch.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for the EU Commission President. What are the U.S. concessions? What is the U.S. giving up in the deal, if anything?
So the starting point was an imbalance, a surplus on our side and a deficit on the U.S. side.
I'm having a hard to, like, I paused my breathing here. Oh my God. It sounds like she's negotiating on our behalf. It sounds like she's being honest about what we are emerging from. How helpful is that?
And we wanted to rebalance the trade relation, and we wanted to do it in a way that trade goes on between the two of us across the Atlantic, because the two biggest economies should have a good trade flow between us. And I think we hit exactly the point we wanted to find. Rebalance, but enable trade on both sides, which means good jobs on both sides of the Atlantic, means prosperity on both sides of the Atlantic, and that was important for us.
Anybody else?
Wow. That is fantastic. I just want you to know how great that is. That is something else. Good job, President Trump. When going through the Cincinnati story, unfortunately found this one. This is a dude randomly punching. So it's a black dude randomly. Is that an Asian? Maybe they said he was white. I don't know.
Oh!
Ooh! Filming. So this is Cleveland. Guy's trying to fight him. Destroying his cart and getting arrested. or tased. It's all part of investigating the awful Cincinnati story. You have got to go after the crazy people. You've got to take them out of the general population. Dale, halfway house.
Albino baby.
Does that say we don't have to live like this? What do you say? Albino baby? What's he say?
Albino baby. I got some baby.
Dude's either racist or crazy or both. It says we don't have to live like this. I mean, look, violent people need to be put away. That's it. Doesn't matter what you look like. It matters how you act. That's it. That's all that matters. But yeah, found that story covering the awful Cincinnati story. Here's Governor Mike DeWine. He's on his way out. Vivek Ramaswamy is, look at this decrepit photo here, these two. Like, they are old. Vivek Ramaswamy looking to become the next governor of Ohio. And it just strikes me as completely feckless. He's talking about the problems with ending the Haitian TPS in Springfield, Ohio. Why was Governor DeWine allowing his state to be invaded?
I'm concerned about the economic impact on Clark County, Springfield, Clark County, and the Miami Valley, and this whole part of the state.
The economic impact. You know what? If people have jobs available, you train Americans for them. You don't import the third world to take the American jobs. Figure it out. Figure it out. Hey, what a great idea for work release then. Maybe nonviolent people could get some job training and get out and get some housing, get some employment. Maybe help get some people out of the system, the nonviolent ones. I don't know. There's a million people. Ohio has a ton of people who would like to be working a job that could pay the bills. If those jobs aren't paying enough, they need to pay more. Oh, well, they need slave labor to cut. Then the business model is broken. That's it. He's concerned about the business model, is he?
That's a massive change. If all those individuals one day no longer can work in those companies, and those companies can no longer employ them, and
they should have never been able to employ them. I guess they had some type of, what do they call it? A TPS pro? I forget the name of the program.
Go out and then try to figure out how they go from there.
So are they broadly expressing to you concerns about expansion and operation challenges that come with losing that size of their workforce?
TPS, they're calling it. Not the TPS reports from Office Space. All the factories that opened under Trump's first term in this area were immediately staffed with Haitians in Biden's term. Yeah, a massive change if these companies can no longer employ them, and that we have to go out and find employees. You mean go out and employ Americans? You won't say it, but this is exactly what's about to happen. DeWine's interest in the economic impact of the Haitians is laughable. It's time for them to go home and let Americans actually benefit from these jobs. Maybe you shouldn't have allowed them to ship them here by the thousands, you useless weasel, says Walter Kurt. Can't wait till Vivek replaces this spineless rhino. See, and here's the shame of what happened in Cincinnati. This woman got knocked unconscious by a black dude. This white woman got knocked unconscious by a black dude. Mike DeWine allows this. Welcome to Ohio. If a picture speaks 1,000 words, I mean, Kenneth suspecting that guy is as crooked as his spine, crooked as a question mark. Yes, Deb, thanks for calling me out. Brian never jokes around. But this photo is a sad reminder of race relations in America where white people have been demonized, provided that the two that were attacked had nothing to do with anything. They didn't provoke anything, and we don't know all the details. I'm not going to fly off the handle. I don't have more information. It's time we build a case and figure out what's going on. You definitely arrest the people involved, all of them, get it figured out. It reeks like a violent mob race hate crime. And that's Ohio for you. It's a shame. That's where I'm from. The story's a damn shame. Stanford police commentary. It's a parody account. We're currently monitoring a number of X accounts as the posts are concerning and may demonstrate wrong thoughts that are contrary to the general public's allowed attitude in the United Kingdom. We said the UK is fallen. Not sure if this account below is a parody account. It is. I just had to look. But the people of the UK have been abused terribly. Their civil rights have been stripped and they're suffering greatly. It's a parody account. Elon better not be calling for violence, or is he just telling a joke? Kenneth saying this is why I don't go out at night. Yeah, you can go out at night, but stay strapped. But even if you're strapped, imagine trying to defend yourself in the middle of a mob like that. Start waving a gun, you're going to end up in jail. So what? You get a chance to get knocked out or end up in jail or in prison? I mean, that's a bad scenario. I agree. It's stupid people doing stupid things in stupid places. But hold on. Americans should not feel like going to a jazz festival would put them in a stupid situation. If they're stupid people, you arrest them all. Throw away the key. Attacking nonviolent people, if that's the story. I haven't heard a single report to the contrary. I'm open to changing my opinion if that is true. This is madness. Elon posted this. Oh, no. First Ozzy and now the Hulk? Is George Soros even in this damn thing? I don't think Elon's calling for violence against George Soros. I think George Soros is a decrepit monster. And if you're going to take Ozzy and the Hulk, what is the Grim Reaper going to do next? Why don't you go get a malevolent figure like George Soros, perhaps? Owen Benjamin put this out. In August of 2008, hang on, let me ask Grok, did Epstein win the lottery? Let's see. By the way, hit like, hit subscribe, however you're watching. Please say hello in the comments. If you haven't commented yet, please let me know. There have been speculation and conspiracy theories surrounding an 2008 Oklahoma Powerball lottery by an entity called the Zorro Trust, which some sources link to Epstein. The trust claimed a winning ticket for $85 million in a jackpot, getting $29.3 after taxes. Purchased at a convenience store in Altus, Oklahoma, shortly after Epstein began a 13-month prison sentence in Florida in 2008. Epstein did have an entity named Zorro Trust used for donations to politicians in New Mexico, where he owned a property called Zorro Ranch. The timing of the lottery win coinciding with his incarceration and the trust's name had fueled speculation, with some suggesting it could be linked to money laundering or other illicit activities. A lawyer representing Epstein's alleged victims even raised this during a deposition with Epstein's former pilot, indicating the theory was taken seriously by some. However, a counterclaim suggests the Zorro Trust that won the lottery was unrelated to Epstein. A Bloomberg article and other sources report that the winner was a woman from Altus, Oklahoma, who worked at a grocery store and used a trust with the same name to claim the prize anonymously, a common practice for lottery winners. This trust, Zorro Management, was reportedly dissolved in 2011. The Oklahoman newspaper noted the winner was local and the trust was set up to shield their identity, with no confirmed connection to Epstein beyond the shared name. The lack of public records and some anonymity of trusts make it difficult to confirm or refute the Epstein involvement conclusively. Some sources point to a computer glitch that delayed the lottery's drawing broadcast, adding to suspicions of the rigging, but no hard... Oh yeah, the computer glitch, like showing the footage of the jail cell? Huh. Questionable financial dealings suggests more than a coincidence, just speculation. Inconclusive. All right, then. CIA said, Luke said the CIA rigs the lottery for its assets. Well, that's a maybe story. That's a to be continued, keep your eye on it kind of thing. Reminding us on this day in 1993, a man named Vince Foster went to Fort Marcy Park and offed himself multiple times in the back of his head to avoid testifying against Hillary Clinton. His S-note was 2 pages long, didn't mention himself or his family, but was an attempt to exonerate the Clintons of accused crimes. .38 caliber antique and untraceable pistol was found in his right hand, but Vince Foster was left-handed. Roger says, White House counsel Vince Foster found D in Fort Marcy Park, Virginia. He was actually off in his old executive office building, and his body was rolled in a rug and transported to Fort Marcy Park and dumped there. FBI toxicology report noted carpet fibers all over his suit. Hillary ordered the body moved so that Foster's office would not be considered a crime scene, and investigators would not have access to the Clintons' personal documents. That story has not gone away. What do you know about Vince Foster? It's another puzzle piece to Obama, Clinton. Saudi timeline reminding us that in 2015, Donald Trump at the time called dopey Prince Talal someone who wants to control U.S. politicians with daddy's money. Can't do it if I'm elected or when I get elected. Promised to stop it, signaling certain U.S. politicians were owned by him and still are. He's the second largest stakeholder in Twitter, now X, via his investment firm, Kingdom Holding Company. Al-Walid is an extended member of the Royal House of Saud, not in direct line of the crown, but grandson to King Abdulaziz Al Saud, the founder of modern-day Saudi Arabia. On paper, he's worth $16 billion, but he has had access to much more. Nick Adams, what's up, Nick? When is your first show, Nick Adams? Nick Adams Show. Tweeted this out and said Trump has the most number of publicly available photos and videos with Jeffrey Epstein and or Ghislaine Maxwell. And he put a list out here. I'm not sure where the list came from. Dr. Shiva, President Truth, Freedom, Health Global Movement, MIT, PhD, inventor of email. And so our reply to that, I'm not entirely certain what the data, if the data is accurate or not, but let's say it is. We said, so now with the bullseye theory, all of the publicly available stuff is outer ring dartboard stuff, peripheral, public, known. Zero mentions about the island. He taxied a private jet from Florida to New York a couple of times, just like RFK Jr. These aren't middle ring, inner ring, and bullseye situations. To say, oh, he's on the list doesn't tell you anything. Is there bullseye stuff? Is there inner ring stuff? Is there like abuse stuff? That's different from, yeah, you taxi private jets that are around, and yeah, you had one parked at the same spot. You use it. That's what the rich people do to make their money back on the carrying cost of having a private jet. You rent it out like an Uber. That's commonly known and commonly practiced. Yeah, they were at events. They talked. But the timeline of when Trump kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago and cooperated, he was the only one that answered the subpoena and gave hours of information to take Epstein down because he can't stand the guy. You know, it kind of goes a little far to prove which team he's on. Not conclusive, but it's another puzzle piece, regardless. So, yeah. All right, I want to talk to you about Sunny Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney. Why do I call her Sunny Sweeney?
Did America?
Let's go and watch this. The comment says, here's another Democrat losing her mind over Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle ad, calling it what? Check this out.
American Eagle just run an ad for eugenics?
Genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My genes are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very genes.
Totally just talking about denim, right? Just
talking about denim, right? Well, it is an ad for American Eagle denim. What would give that away? She has great genes. Oh, yeah. Great genes, great genetic makeup. Look, she's an attractive American female selling our genes. It's like the oldest tale. But when the Democrat lying legacy media, the divisive, demonic, destructive Democrat Party and the educators of this country keep pushing for decades that there's all sorts of hidden meanings and you have to look under every rock to find racism everywhere. This white savior here is going to try to tell you it's more than selling jeans. No, it's about genes and eugenics. First time a liberal woman's cared about genetics. I mean, aside from Margaret Sanger's stance, right? Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood, she's got some interesting comments, doesn't she? Interesting quotes. I wonder if this lady's super pro-abortion, talking about eugenics and killing an entire generation of people while we're at it, but I digress. We're either talking about genes that American Eagle's selling, or we're not. Everything's code. Everything's racist somewhere. See, what the liberals have forgotten is that if everything's racist, nothing is. They did this to themselves. They're the boy that cried wolf. She makes my jeans blue. Well, it's an advertisement for jeans. And that lady's trying to turn it into something it's not. Let's let her cook.
It's a blonde-haired, blue-eyed woman explaining how her good genes gave her personality and purity. I mean,
hot girl. I'm thankful I have good genes. And I'm wearing good jeans. Buy these jeans. American Eagle. That's as deep as you need to go. This story's been out for a couple days. I didn't once consider this Looney Tune angle until this liberal came in with her thought.
are we really going to pretend that this isn't a little fashy-coded? Look, I'm not saying that Sydney Sweeney personally wrote this
Fashy-coded? What are you even talking about, lady?
ad to revive the Third Reich, but American Eagle
What?
absolutely...
A Reich? They're jeans. Blue jeans. They're using a play on word about jeans. Oh, it's a hot girl. Look, she's got good jeans.
knew what they were doing here.
Yeah, you know what they were doing here. They're selling jeans.
Don't get to drop lines about inherited traits, blue eyes, and great genes while zooming in on somebody that could have walked straight off of a Nazi propaganda poster and...
What in hell does that even mean? Walked right off of a propaganda poster. Why?
Zooming in on somebody that could have walked straight off of a Nazi propaganda poster and expect people not to catch that reference. Good genes used to mean racial purity and fascist circles, and now it's just denim marketing. We are watching fascist aesthetic.
Fascist aesthetic. Shut up and buy some jeans, lady.
Sneak back.
Do you even own any jeans, lady?
We are watching fascist aesthetics sneak back into pop culture through fashion ads,
Is she reading this? This isn't a real person. I don't see her eyes moving. I don't know that she's reading it off a screen, but it looks like she's reading a script.
Just aesthetics.
Fascist aesthetics.
And now it's just denim marketing. We are watching fascist aesthetics sneak back into pop culture through fashion ads, trad wife influencers.
Trad wife influencers. Oh, yeah, let's roll my eyes back into the back of my head. You mean a traditional wife? Gross. We're against eugenics, except when it's aborting all of the Americans. We're for those eugenics, but she has good genes. That would imply there's bad genes. Oh, and a trad wife? A traditional wife? You mean someone that's going to raise a family? Oh my gosh, gross. Look at her rolling her eyes. You mean like a trad wife influencer? Gross, that's fashion.
Pop culture through fashion ads, trad wife influence.
Fashion ads.
Culture through fashion ads.
Fashion ads.
Through fashion ads.
Fashion ads.
Pop culture through fashion ads, trad wife influencers, and yes, now blue jeans. If you think this was an innocent ad, you have not been paying attention.
Oh, please enlighten us how the whole world is the way you view it, lady. Tell us more about selling jeans. Oh, here's another one. They got their talking points memo. Here you go. Sydney Sweeney, folks. Sydney Sweeney. One of these three is not like the other. One of these three are sort of the same or something.
Should we be surprised that a company whose name is literally American Eagle...
Oh my gosh, it's literally American Eagle? Not Figuratively? What does she mean? Nick, well done. Hold on, everybody. Let's congratulate Nick. See, Nick's been watching, especially in the past couple weeks. I've had this voice in my head, and I guess as a character artist or an impersonator, a comedian, an actor, a performer, a daily show host. Yes, there's a entertainment component, and I love that. Getting together and talking about the things happening on Earth. I love this. This is like my favorite part of the day. But yeah, a lot of times in the past couple of weeks, I'd start talking. Oh my gosh, you mean you're going to sell jeans? You mean like real jeans? You mean like genetic makeup? Like you're totally a fascist? And I'd look over and do that voice, the annoying white knight liberal lady. I will defend all of the things because all of the things are bad and all of the white people are bad and all of this, everything's a fascist and I am the smartest one in the room and you better believe me on every single thing I have to say. There's been a recurring character that has been popping into our shows. Nick pointed that out. I'm glad you pointed that out, Nick. Nick playing Kyrie Irving, tossing up a perfect alley-oop pass. Yeah, those two. That is that liberal voice that lives in my head. I haven't fully defined the character, and I haven't even settled on the voice exactly. But it's kind of jumping in. It wasn't that whiny. I'm trying to remember how I was doing it last time. That's where our TNAM meme team would come in. Ideally go back through those previous episodes and let's do compilation segments of when that was. Ain't nobody got time for that. Somebody could though. It'd be funny. That is the voice. These ladies embody the voice. She's got the piercing at the nose. Yeah, that's a pretty good. Anyway, let's start it from the top and enjoy all of the glory.
Should we be surprised?
Oh, hold on. What's the battle flag behind her? It's the everything flag.
Should we be surprised that a company whose name is literally American Eagle?
Oh, literally American Eagle. Literally American Eagle. Oh, is it literally American Eagle?
His name is literally American Eagle, is making fascist propaganda like
oh, it's fascist to sell blue jeans with boobies.
This? Probably not.
I mean, is it fair to say they're selling... Oh, yeah, let me get this off the screen there. Is it fair to say that they're selling blue jeans with boobies? Sydney Sweeney. Most known for? What? Curvy physique? Cute girl. I don't find her to be the absolute bombshell that some people think she is. I wouldn't swipe left, but I mean, would I? I wouldn't swipe left, but I mean, is this the Marilyn Monroe of our generation? I don't know. But is this shocking? Is this a shocking ad? My point was, is it fair to say she's using boobies to sell blue jeans? The commercial I saw, she was working on a car and she got up, closed the hood, and she wiped her hands off on her backside, highlighting the jeans as she walked away. This is the lady from my...
Propaganda like this? Probably not.
Probably not propaganda like this.
But it's still really shocking.
It is so shocking. Like an attractive lady would sell an American product and its name's literally American Eagle.
Blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman is talking about her good jeans.
Oh no, white people aren't allowed to be good. Didn't you get the memo? White people are all bad. Except her, because she's a hero, right? Because she's an ally or something. She gets to tell everybody else how everybody's wrong. She's good, but every other white person's bad. Or she self-flagellates herself and goes, no, I'm bad too. I'm so bad. I had an impure thought once. I said something I didn't defend. I should have been more. I should have. She's just whipping herself. That's what I'm doing. It's called self-flagellation. It's from Dan Brown, Da Vinci Code. You just got like a whip. Maybe you have like barbs in it. And you just crack. You're just tearing yourself open. There's no amount of penance, no amount of groveling that will make up for the historical inequities of something that I didn't do, but I feel extreme guilt for something that someone that wasn't me did, and I will forever beat myself up over this. Yes, you can take my money. You can dominate me politically. You can take everything you want because I'm evil. That's what the Democrats have been pushing, the lying legacy media and academia. They've been pushing that. I call it the Obama doctrine, but this was going on before Obama. There was some of this in the 90s. More in the 2000s, more in the 2016. Everything went through the roof. Right around the time Obama was locking up his second term, and he's like, I got to have a little bit more flexibility after my next election. Remember, that was Barack Hussein Obama talking with the Russian delegate, saying I could maybe give you a little bit more, but I got to get across the finish line for this presidential victory. One more time. Won't somebody think of the children? That's a good reference there, Kenneth. Well done. Yeah, that's just not white. Oh, that's not white, dude. That ain't white. Dude, please. Oh my gosh, she's blonde-haired and blue-eyed. People are talking about her having good genes. There's like nothing different in genes. Like my genes are the same. Like look at me and look at her. We're essentially the same. We're just worthless white ladies. Evil, probably, according to my professor. According to my news source on MSNBC, they said there's something systemic. What's systemic? What are you telling me? What rights do certain people have that other people don't have in American society in 2025? Legally, everybody has the same rights. Yeah, well, like stuff before, though. Stuff before what? Like it's even now. Like everything's like you all have the same protections and liberties. Yeah, but not really. They don't get the right to. What do you mean they don't get to? What do you call them? Stupid? No, I didn't say they're stupid. I'm just saying they can't have an ID, so they can't vote. They can't have an ID. Everybody can have an ID. Well, they're not smart enough to know where to get an ID. Huh? The leftist mentality. All you got to do is peel one or two layers of that onion back, and your eyes will instantly water with confusion over the lack of ideological consistency. It's truly mind-boggling. It's baffling. But and you could always tell in the eyes, right? Like the crazy eyes. I don't have any fake glasses, do I? Do I have any glasses in there? Probably misses his old glasses. Who am I? It's probably not, but it's not. It's still really shocking. By the way, there's nothing different about our genes. My genes are exactly the same as hers. I am just as attractive as she is. That's what she's thinking. The crazy eyes. Crazy eyes. Crazy eyes. Am I doing the face right? Crazy eyes. Crazy eyes.
Like a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman is talking about her good genes. Like, that is Nazi propaganda.
Yeah. That's hilarious, lady. No, I'm not going to do the Cash Patel eyes because, look, we're not going to release those tapes and re-victimize those women. Also, there are no tapes. I've watched Cash Patel, and I can't really pick up on something to, like, imitate. He just sounds like a dude talking. Oh, but he's Indian. Can't you make him talk like Apun Nahasapima Petelan? No, because he doesn't sound like that. He's of Indian descent. You wouldn't take Vivek Ramaswamy. Oh, Vivek Ramaswamy. Mr. Homer. Such a product does not exist. There's a whole other story about Harry Shearer, the voice actor, who stepped down from voicing Apu, I believe, right? He got caught up in that cancel culture that got the Washington Redskins and Aunt Jemima and the Cleveland Indians and Apu, Nahasapima Petalan, no longer voiced by Harry Shearer because he said he's taken the voice acting job of somebody who's, it's like, yeah, it's acting. What are we doing? What are we even talking about? It's absurd. Oh, Marverius gods. Oh, by the many arms of Vishnu. I swear to you, by the many arms of Vishnu. I did reference Vishnu's various arms earlier today, too. So it's all circling back together. But anyway, that's literal Nazi propaganda if you want to buy some blue jeans, says this lady. What would Fred Durst have to say about this controversy? In Lewiston, Maine. Yeah. What am I, a jukebox to you? You walk past, and I got the open guitar case. You toss $1 in. Oh, by the way, the donation links are at the bottom if anyone wants to toss $1 in. Also, we're on Rumble with Rumble Rants. You can click for like $1, and you can like put a little capsized, one highlighted, not captured or capsized. Caption. I think I was just trying to say caption. Yeah, you can highlight a phrase donating that way. Well, you just walk by and put $1 in my wishing well, flick a quarter into my wishing well, and I just do voices. Honestly, after talking about it with a Trump administration, I don't think that the voices are all that healthy. And with my role in health and human services, I'm working to make sure that the Maha agenda is implemented, minus all of the pressure that Brian feels to perform with these wacky accents. In Lewiston, Maine. Anyway, Nazi propaganda, go figure. All right, that's all I wanted to share with you, except now I want to see the whole Sydney Sweeney ad. That was one ad, but there's the other one that I saw. Not Sydney Sweeney's good looks. Lefties are confused. I'll try to help you all. The reason why you're triggered is the word American. American Eagle. That's the part. It's literally all these Sydney Sweeney posts. It's literally just women hating on attractive women. Like, I don't see any dudes crying about the ads, only women. And that's sad. So where's the actual ad? Wait, who is that? I don't know who that person is. Do we get to play the ad? Wait, what is that? TMZ? Are they blurring out her butt? What is even happening? It looks like that's blurred up. Oh, Shane Gillis. Weirdos say that Sydney Sweeney ad was a Nazi dog whistle. Me. You sound like a potential homosexual. Have you seen that scene on Tires? Talking about a coworker that, well, Sydney Sweeney's an actress. I know I am the jukebox. You want me to do the Tucker on the way out as the show wraps. I know everybody wants a greatest hits from Brian. All right. Anyway, I was just going to try to play the advertisement. Can we just see the actual ad?
I'm not really saying that about a blonde. Obviously have my eye color.
It's not that ad. There's one with the car. Oh, it's this one. It's this commercial. Is it going to play? Mr. Guns and Gear. Seeing commercials with actually attractive women like Sydney Sweeney rather than some obese trans person is a good sign for the country. Glad to see it. What are you more interested in, her or the car? That's one of Sydney Sweeney's better pictures. Yeah, she's an actress. Yeah, I mean, you know, Sydney Sweeney, everybody. Let's see. Flapper says Sydney Sweeney's cultural dominance has reached the point where she has her own predictable Twitter cycle. 1, Sydney Sweeney does something and looks incredibly hot. 2, normal people fawn over how hot she looks. 3, haters call her mid. Don't call me a hater. I'm just trying to be accurate. Well, Jen, what happened to women supporting women? I mean, tell me when we ever had it. Sorry, I need to get your comment off of the screen immediately. I do not want to cover up the New American Media logo. But when did women ever support women? Was that ever a thing? Women make up half the population, can't sell tickets to a WNBA event. And then men are criticized. Men are bashed for not. It's like, if it's all about empowering, are women supporting each other? Do women typically give other women compliments? Or are they instantly catty behind the scenes? That's not to say everybody's built that way, but there is something ingrained. There is something. So much jealousy. Yeah, so there is a catty thing. Trust me, dudes are jealous too. Everybody gets jealous, but I'm not calling her mid. I'm just saying. Maybe I am. I don't know. I mean, I got nothing. I think. How much more do I need to talk about this issue? I am stuttering. I'm searching for the proper words. Anyway, number 4 in this cycle after haters call her mid, losers find a reason why it's problematic. Ooh, don't know what that was. I'm just trying to find the advertisement that I saw. It was like with a car. It was a car commercial. I'm sorry. It was obviously the jeans commercial. Here, let's listen to Glenn Beck's take on this.
Here's an American Eagle ad from 2019. Look at the size of that woman, okay?
That's a lot of denim.
Now let me show you with Sydney Sweeney.
See, if I had my TNAM meme team or my producer, hey, Jamie, can you clip that out and just go, that's a lot of denim? Just keep that one on the side in case we're having a similar conversation. Feel free to drop that one in. Hey, Red Band, give me that. That's a lot of denim drop. Yeah, Kenneth would support her with 2 hands. I think he said the quiet part out loud and the loud part quiet. Oh, yeah, it's moving me to a bigger house. Women who are secure with themselves support others. Yes. Deb loves it when gay men assess a straight woman's outfit and say, I wouldn't wear that, honey. Very catty, but funny. Yeah, but I like that clip. That's a lot of denim. That's a good quote. Just a little clip, just a little drop. Where'd it go? There we go. Oh, it's rendering. Why is it thinking? Just play. There you go.
Ad from 2019. Look at the size of that woman, okay?
That's a lot of denim.
Now let me show you
That's a lot
Sydney
of denim.
Sweeney, a new ad for America, an American Eagle. She's in tight jeans, a tank top, white tank top, and she's
Sydney
now,
Sweeney has very keen.
yeah, getting into a Ford GT350. A
the car or that's a nice looking car.
Mustang. Hello, recognizing the American man again. You get into a Mustang, a GT350, which is a lot of people on their I wish I had that car list. Sweeney, which is on a lot of people's I wish I had that gal list. That ad is directly aimed at American men. The kind of men that everyone has said for the last 10 years should be ashamed of themselves.
30 years, Glenn, but yes.
I will say I don't agree with that. It is not at all aimed at the typical American man.
Okay, interesting point. Both of these could be true.
It is aimed at the typical American woman because it is saying to women, don't you want to look good for men? That's what it's saying.
Wow.
I think what they're acknowledging there is, hey, men and women are attracted to each other.
Yes. Either way, this ad would not have happened a few years ago.
All right. That ad would not happen a few years ago. Yeah, these people calling her, it's just weird. It's weird. Sydney Sweeney. Anyway, that was the advertisement that I saw. Oh, the car is an iconic Ford Mustang and their stock has risen 16%. Is that true? David Atherton saying that? I didn't know. All right. Well, that's what I had to share with you today. Red beans and rice, don't miss her. Baby got back. Thank you, everybody, for being with us on the TNAM Daily Show. We'll be back again tomorrow at noon. At the bottom, our tip jar. We're on Patreon at the New American Media, Venmo and Cash App at BrianEngelman, PayPal, fuzzinstallment@yahoo.com. Also follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Truth Social, Rumble, Odysee, Twitch, Kick, D-Live, and YouTube at the New American Media, Telegram and Signal. We're at TNAM and TNAM Chat. We're on X at American_Media_, and our podcast is the Agree to Disagree Show on Spotify and Apple. Thank you, everybody, for being in the program today. Tag us on X at American_Media_, anything you want us to cover for tomorrow's program. And until then, I appreciate you. I love you. And we will talk to you again soon. Take care, everybody. Peace.
Your guide to the truth. TheNewAmericanMedia.com.